The following special presentation of Hawaiian extreme sports on Hawaiian Skies is made possible in part by Olukai Premium Footwear.
Aloha and welcome to the special in-flight edition of Hawaiian Extreme Sports TV on Hawaiian Skies. Today it's all about how surfers and stand-up paddlers are stretching boundaries and pushing the limits in giant Hawaiian surf. The most extreme part of this big wave, man-powered surfing evolution is taking place at Pe'ahi, more commonly known as Jaws, located off a secluded and hard-to-reach sea cliff on Maui's North Shore. Today, the quest continues, only this time there's a twist. Surfers are using their own paddle power to drop into these giant beasts.
The scene's pretty incredible out at Jaws now. It's changed a lot. Before there was Laird and the select few, Dave Kalama and Rush Randall and all those guys tow surfing back in the day, and then went through this transition where a lot of people were towing and you had 50 jet skis. Now, it transitioned into just a few guys paddling in, and you're not allowed to tow out there if there's guys paddling. But the beauty about big waves and the beauty about Pe'ahi is it regulates itself. The wave is so intense and so scary that you're not gonna see people jockeying really. It's whoever's in the spot gets that wave.
Big wave surfing has come such a long way, and it's cool to be able to push the limits and enjoy the ocean and just be blessed. That's what it's all about, and all the passion that comes out when you're out there, and it takes over your life. It becomes addicting, and if you really love it, that's all you think about too. Is a lot of it is chasing swells and just be able to be out there at the right time.
It's a daunting feeling knowing that 50 to 60 foot waves are marching across the Great Pacific on your way to Pe'ahi or any one of the big waves in Hawaii.
We wake up early, and if it's a good swell, you definitely always have some butterflies, and you're just pumped for the day to start. And it's different at times. Sometimes I take the ski and get out there, bring a couple boards, and then sometimes I just park at the top of the cliff and we walk down, and then you get to these boulders where they're like huge boulders, and there's like 4-foot waves just like breaking onto these boulders, and you're like, I guess I'll just jump off of this thing. But every time it's kind of like, it's a little like warm up to the wave, sometimes it's like even heavier than the wave.
Big wave surfing is at a really interesting point now because it went through a big tow-in surfing phase, and tow-in surfing is still the way to go if the waves are 100 feet, but now the limits have been pushed in big wave paddle surfing, and all of a sudden waves thought to not be possible to paddle into are conceivably paddleable, and you can turn on a 60-foot wave and catch it. And it's been proven over the last few years, and it's really exciting times because right now there's no limit to what waves you can paddle into. It's just about charging and sending it, and it's really fun to be putting the stand-up into that whole thing too, because in really big waves I feel super comfortable on my stand-up because I have a perspective from, you know, really up high, and I can see waves coming a lot earlier than if I'm just paddling on my stomach. But both prone paddling and stand-up paddling are really insane. It's really exciting to doing both and seeing where it could take it. Out at Jaws, everyone's kind of talking story usually. You know, you just talk with somebody for a while because in between sets there can be great big lulls for a really big one, and if you're waiting for a really big one, that's what would happen. And being out there, you all of a sudden are talking story, and it's all light, and then you just see a black wall in front of you.
And you're just like, oh, you just start scratching. You like see it just go black, and you're just like, oh, like I gotta get out of here. And sometimes, you know, you're just too far in. Everybody's just too far in. That like the set just cleans everybody out.
You either paddle into it or you know, try to paddle over it or dive as deep as you can and hopefully not get sucked back.
You just know it's like you're in the spot and you don't have a ski to like get out of it. So it's pretty hectic at moments. I've had some situations where such a weird sensation where instead of just getting ragdoll right away, the lip landed behind me and it just blew me up. And like I jumped off, but it just blew me in the air, and I was just in this like weightless feeling, just in the foam, but like not in the water, where I was just floating. And I was like, wow, this is taking for so long. And I was just floating, and I was like, wow, okay, I'm about to get drilled. But I had the time to think in that air pocket or something, and then sure enough, just like just got so hammered after.
Basically anywhere from pipe up to Jaws, between that spectrum of waves, you'll get destroyed. And at Jaws, you know, when you fall, there's nothing you can do. Just all you have to do is pray and hope that you don't, you know, slam the bottom or just get held down for two waves. And fortunately, we have these inflation suits that allow us to pull a CO2 cartridge and it'll bring us to the surface twice as quick as without it. You know, you still get absolutely destroyed with it, but it's definitely something to distract your mind more than anything. You know, find a sense of calm in a very uncalm place.
The feeling of going down those waves at Pe'ahi it's a challenge that, you know, you're waiting, and then you finally line it up and you catch one, and you're dealing with the chop a little bit. You know, you always have a little bump like towards the beginning of the face when you're rolling down, and then at the bottom sometimes it just glasses off, and that's the best feeling when you like have a glassy bottom turn and then you get a crazy ride.
But it's the scariest thing I've ever experienced in my life. Looking ahead of me and maybe 100 yards down, you just see the wave lining up and just feeling I don't know, uncomfortably caught. It's scary. It's like the monster is catching up to you and you're trying to outrun this thing. And when you come out of it and you make it, the adrenaline and, you know, the euphoria you experience is something that'll last the rest of your life. I know every wave that I've gone out there and spat out of, it's definitely been something that's ingrained in my mind. But certainly it can go really wrong too, and you could go tomahawking in a 50-foot barrel, which is no fun.
Being out there, you pretty much like feel the energy of the ocean, and that's what inspires me the most, is being able to be out there in those days and witness it, like right in it, and try to get a barrel. And that's kind of like my dream out there, and I think that's the dream of all the guys that are out there, is being able to like get some big waves and have fun and charge with the boys.
This special presentation of Hawaiian extreme sports on Hawaiian Skies was made possible in part by Breakaway with Bioastin, nature's most powerful antioxidant grown in Hawaii.